Yo, what's up everyone, it's Raja, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the world of website security. We're talking vulnerability testing, and trust me, this is some next level stuff. Whether you're running a blog, an e-commerce store, or just have a personal website, understanding how to find and fix security holes is crucial in this digital age. Think of it like this. You wouldn't leave your front door unlocked, right? Well, your website is like your digital front door, and we're going to make sure it's locked down tight. Over the course of this video, we'll be your guide to becoming vulnerability assessment pros. We'll break down the process step by step, using tools and techniques that the pros use. By the end, you'll have the knowledge to fortify your website and keep those pesky hackers at bay. Before we even think about firing up any hacking tools, we need to talk about the legal side of things. Just like in the physical world, there are rules in the digital world. Testing a website for vulnerabilities without permission is a big no-no. It's crucial to get written consent from the website owner before you even think about running a scan. This isn't just about being a good internet citizen, it's about avoiding serious legal trouble. Think of it like this. You wouldn't want someone poking around your house without your permission, right? The same goes for websites. So, before we go any further, make sure you have the green light from the website owner. Once you have that squared away, we can move on to the fun stuff. Alright, now that we've got the legal stuff out of the way, let's talk tools. Just like a carpenter needs their hammer and saw, we need the right tools to find and exploit vulnerabilities. First up, we've got Nmap. This is our network scanner, kind of like a digital map that shows us all the devices and services running on a network. Next, we've got OWASP, ZAP, and Burp Suite. These are our heavy hitters for web application security testing. They'll help us uncover vulnerabilities specific to web apps. Then there's Nikto, our server vulnerability scanner. Think of it like a security guard that checks for any known weaknesses in the server itself. And of course, no security toolkit is complete without SQLmap, our SQL injection testing tool. This helps us find those sneaky SQL injection vulnerabilities that can give attackers control of a database. Now that we've got our tools ready, it's time to gather some intel. Before we launch any attacks, we need to know exactly what we're dealing with. We'll start by figuring out the website's IP address, kind of like its home address on the internet. Then, we'll use tools like Sublist3R to find any subdomains, which are like smaller websites linked to the main one. Next, we'll use Nmap again to see which ports are open. Think of ports like doors into the website. We need to know which ones are open and what's behind them. Finally, we'll check the website's DNS records and use tools like Wapalizer to see what technologies it's using. This is like checking the blueprints of the house to see how it's built. Alright, now the real fun begins. We're going to start scanning for vulnerabilities. Think of this like sweeping the house for any potential security flaws. We'll use tools like OWASP, ZAP, and Nikto to run automated scans. These tools are great at finding common vulnerabilities, like outdated software or misconfigured settings. But we're not stopping there. We'll also do some manual testing, checking for sensitive files that might be left exposed. Things like configuration files, backup files, or even source code. We'll also be on the lookout for any exposed keys or credentials. These are like leaving your house keys under the mat, a huge security risk. Now let's talk about some of the most common vulnerabilities we'll be looking for. These are the ones that attackers love to exploit, so it's crucial that we know how to find and fix them. First up, SQL injection. This is where attackers inject malicious SQL code into a website, potentially gaining access to sensitive data. We'll use SQLmap to see if we can exploit any SQL injection vulnerabilities. Next, cross-site scripting, or XSS. This is where attackers inject malicious scripts into a website, which can then be executed by other users. We'll try injecting some harmless JavaScript to see if the website is vulnerable. Then there's broken authentication. This is a broad category that covers any weaknesses in the website's login system. We'll use tools like Hydra and Burp Suite to see if we can bypass the login or brute force our way in. In this chapter, we're focusing on SSL/TLS, the technology that encrypts communication between a website and its users. Think of it like a secure tunnel that protects data from eavesdropping. We'll use tools like SSL Labs and OpenSSL to test the website's SSL/TLS configuration. We're looking for things like weak ciphers, outdated protocols, or expired certificates. Any of these issues can weaken the encryption and put user data at risk. It's like having a strong lock on your front door, but leaving a window open. We'll go through each test in detail, explaining what we're looking for and why it's important. By the end of this chapter, you'll be able to make sure your website's SSL TLS configuration is rock solid. Alright, let's talk about session management. This is how websites keep track of users who are logged in. Think of it like a digital keycard that gives you access to certain areas of the website. We want to make sure that these keycards are secure and can't be easily stolen or duplicated. We'll be looking for things like weak session cookies, session fixation vulnerabilities, and session hijacking vulnerabilities. These vulnerabilities can allow attackers to impersonate legitimate users and gain unauthorized access to accounts. It's like stealing someone's keycard and using it to get into their hotel room. We'll show you how to test for these vulnerabilities and how to fix them to keep your users' sessions secure. Now this is where things get a little more advanced. We're going to talk about exploitation testing, which is where we actually try to exploit the vulnerabilities we've found. But before we go any further, I want to be crystal clear. Exploitation testing should only be done with explicit permission from the website owner. And even then, it should be done with extreme caution. We'll be using tools like Metasploit, which is a powerful framework for penetration testing. We'll show you how to use Metasploit to simulate real-world attacks, and see how a malicious hacker might try to exploit the vulnerabilities we've found. Alright, we've scanned for vulnerabilities, tested for common weaknesses, and even done some exploitation testing. Now it's time to put it all together in a report. This report is crucial because it's what we'll give to the website owner so they can fix the vulnerabilities we've found. We need to be detailed and organized, providing all the information they need to take action. We'll include things like the vulnerability name, its risk level, the steps to reproduce it, and our recommendations for fixing it. Think of it like a doctor's report after a checkup. We've reached the final stage of our vulnerability testing journey, fixing the vulnerabilities and retesting to make sure they're gone for good. This is where we work closely with the website owner or development team to implement the fixes we recommended in our report. It's like patching up the holes we found in the wall. Once the fixes are in place, we'll retest the website to make sure the vulnerabilities are gone and that the fixes didn't introduce any new security holes. That's a wrap on our deep dive into website vulnerability testing. We've covered a lot of ground, from the basics of scanning to the complexities of exploitation testing. Remember, website security is an ongoing process. It's not enough to just test once and forget about it. New vulnerabilities are discovered all the time, so it's crucial to stay up to date and retest regularly. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more tech deep dives, and don't forget to share this video with anyone who needs to level up their website security game.